Hi again, everyone. Scarlet Popcorn fan here, and in this video, it is a new year, 2023. Wow. We'll see how this year goes. But for this video, as you guys have already tell, I want to do my review for Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. Now that I've finally played through and beaten the story for both games. Did definitely take me a while, which is why it took me a while to get this video to be made. So, yeah, I'm going to be reviewing both of these games, Scarlet and Violet. Now, let me tell you, I definitely think that this is probably the Pokemon game, or games, that definitely goes quite the mile to be very much, I mean, where the series should go. Being open world, it was fully open world, and I did love that about these games. Not gonna lie, I loved the open world aspect of it, the exploration, the overall gameplay. I definitely think was rather enjoyable, and I do have quite a bit of a problem with these games, though. I will get into that, but I just want to talk about the positives first, because I did mostly enjoy these games for the most part. The story surprised me. There's 3 different main quests in these games, where you take on the Pokemon League, which is the typical thing that you do in all main series Pokemon games. Except for Generation 7, of course. But then also you have the whole thing with the Titans and the Herba Mystica, and then also the whole thing with Team Star, which unfortunately Team Star is once again not an actual villainous team. I will say that about these games. I really miss going up against an actual evil team. I really miss that about Pokemon games. We haven't had that in quite a few years. I miss that. I miss actually, trying to defeat an evil organization. We haven't had that in a long time, and I miss that. I mean, that is one thing about the whole Team Star thing in these games I didn't really care for it. But at the same time, what they did do with a lot of the boss characters, like the leaders of Team Star, and the story there, it's definitely very relatable. I will say that there's a lot about the story within these games that can be very relatable, and in a way also kind of be personal to a degree, and it's really fascinating. I really liked the story with what they did with the Team Star stuff, and also with the Titan storyline with Arvin, and Penny. She was like the character that the whole Team Star thing was building up to, and then also the whole thing with Arvin and his Pokemon, and what he was trying to do to go after the Herba Mystica and why he was going after it. It was all rather fascinating, and it all sort of culminated into this 4th story arc, which was basically like the part of the game that's basically like the end game. And that was also really cool. I loved that area, by the way. Area 0, the space beneath the crater. That was really cool. I liked that aspect of the game in the end game. Really cool. And I really enjoyed these games. Just like I said, you can tackle any gym in any order that you wish, and any Titan Pokemon and the Team Star bases. You could go after all of that and just create your own journey, basically. And ever since Pokemon X and Y, Pokemon trainer customization has been a very welcome thing to have, and I have done that a little bit in these games, definitely. And you guys will see that when in my intro and outro to this video. But oh man, a lot about also the Pokemon. A lot of the new Pokemon, I really like a lot of them, especially Ceruledge. That's one of my favorites, and also That new future form of Glade slash Gardevoir, I love that thing. I'm using it in my Violet game. It's an amazing Pokemon. And Skeledirge, easily my favorite fire starter in these games. I love it. Using that in Scarlet. And then also I'm using the Quaxwell, the duck. I'm using that in my Violet game. It's a good Pokemon, but I don't like it as much as Skeledirge. And overall, very enjoyable games. And not gonna lie, leading into my cons. You do go inside buildings in these games, but when you do, you can't move the camera like you could in Pokemon Legends Arceus. Like when you're inside a building, like in Jubilife Village in that game, you can move the camera freely. You can move the camera a little bit in buildings in Scarlet and Violet, but it's just still a fixed camera angle, and you just only move it slightly. It's like that. It's just weird. And also, the biggest thing that everyone does not like about these games, everyone, and especially me, I don't like it either, but wow, these games are glitchy. The environments, even in the battles, the environments are very glitchy, and just overall, oh wow, easily the biggest con that everyone will agree about Scarlet and Violet is the way the games run. I know there were a couple patches for Scarlet and Violet to fix a couple things. Not everything, though. Still very glitchy. Just, wow. Quite the situation. Because these games are fully open world, I mean, granted, Breath of the Wild didn't have that problem. Legends of Zelda, there were a couple aspects of that game that aren't exactly entirely polished, but that game runs so much better than these games do, Breath of the Wild. But, wow, that's easily my biggest con about these games. It's just how glitchy the environments are, and even also some slowdown here and there in certain areas, and oh, wow, it's bad. But other than that, though, I do think that this is a pretty solid Pokemon game. It's not my least favorite Pokemon game, but it's also not my favorite. It is enjoyable, not gonna lie. And I did get quite a bit of a challenge with a certain gym leader in my Violet game. Wow, I lost to her like 5 times. But there can be a bit of a challenge, because if you do go after gyms in a random order, some gyms will be harder than you, because there's no level scaling. So some gyms will be hard if you tackle some of the ones of Pokemon in their 50s, like right away. It will be really hard. But I mean, it is possible. So you can find and challenge in these games, and there is challenge, definitely. And also, another thing I miss about Pokemon games, I know strength puzzles and like dungeon-like areas have sort of been a thing of the past in Pokemon games, but I kind of want them back. Maybe not necessarily strength puzzles, but it would be nice to have more dungeon-like areas again in my Pokemon games, where you're solving puzzles and to get to another room or something. I know it's not Zelda, but I would like that. I would like more of that. I would like more dungeon-like areas, like a really big forest or a really big cave to explore. You do get some of that in Scarlet and Violet, mostly caves, though. But I don't know. I just miss those old days when you did string puzzles. I kind of miss that. But other than that, I do think these are pretty decent games. Just might not be for everyone, because some I've heard some people say they prefer linear Pokemon games. I've heard that argument, and I've heard people say that they want more games like this, and it's all over the place in the Pokemon fandom what they want for a Pokemon game. Me personally, I love story-driven Pokemon games, and I definitely think that the story here is definitely not the problem with Scarlet and Violet. The story is pretty good. I liked the story in these games, and especially like it had a decent enough payoff too. Like within the story, I thought that was handled pretty well. And another thing I must say about these games is that Celestial by Ed Sheeran heavily marketed these games. There was basically a song made for these games, and Ed Sheeran, for those of you who don't know him, he's a singer. His previous hit single was Shivers, which came out last year. And, you know, I do think he's a good singer. I mean, I haven't listened to that much of his music, but his song of Celestial played in the end credits of these games, and I do think it's a really good song. I like that song quite a bit. I've heard it many times, and yeah, Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, I'd probably give these games, probably like an 80%. That would be like a B minus. So again, not my favorite Pokemon games, but they are still decent. They are still decent, and I definitely recommend them for hardcore Pokemon fans. Definitely, but I also think that they should keep this going for future Pokemon games. They should keep the open world aspect and keep working on polishing that gameplay aspect of things for future games. Just keep that going. Don't go back to how things used to be. Keep the open world thing going. Don't go back. So yeah, and also probably like in regards to the future of what might come next, I would expect Generation 5 remakes, Black and White remakes. That would logically be next. And I know there are other people that would want Johto remakes, but we've already had Johto remakes, Heart Gold and Soul Silver. So I don't need another Johto remake. I don't, not me. But in regards to future, definitely think Black and White. That's the next games that do need to be remade. Well, granted, the story doesn't need to be changed about those games at all. Those games have a perfect story, if you ask me. They just, need to be remade. It's the next Pokemon game that needs to be remade. And also, they could do the whole Legends Arceus treatment for Unova as well. That would be interesting. So, yeah, that should do it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and next time you see me, I might do a video with my buddy Sean over on his channel. You never know. Maybe you'll see me there, but over on Sean's channel. Alright guys, I'll catch you all in the next one. Peace.